Hi, welcome to Orchids with Barney. Today I am featuring Dendrochilum glaumaceum, which has got a name change. It's no longer called Dendrochilum, and it's also no longer glaumaceum. It's now called Coelogyne, so it's moved into the Coelogyne genus. It's Coelogyne glaumacea with an A on the end instead of UM. If you check Kew Plants of the World online, you can look up plants which have had a name change, and you can see what the name change is, what the old names used to be via the synonyms. And this, I believe, was changed in 2021, so a lot of Dendrochilums got moved into Coelogyne. And like many Coelogyne, it flowers out of the newly emerging leaves, or leaf in this case, with a lovely tons of flowers, absolutely loads of quite small flowers. They're only about a centimetre, just over quarter of an inch high, but you get so many of them, and the fragrance is absolutely wonderful. When I grew this in the UK, I'm currently in Washington DC, in the UK this would fill up the conservatory with fragrance every spring, and the UK winters are so humid that this kind of fragrance wafts and fills the air very well in highly humid air. The house here in DC, the winters are actually quite dry, low humidity, so it doesn't waft really at all. You have to, within a foot of a flower you'll smell it, but further away you won't. If I had it in the grow tent to my right, just here, the grow tent has a humidifier keeping it at 70% humid as a minimum, so this would easily fill the grow tent with fragrance. So you'd open the door and it would just kind of fall out, this fragrance from the grow tent. So if you like fragrant orchids, then grow this. It's got a lovely sweet almond sort of fragrance, really very pleasant, very sort of sweet floral, really nice. Not an unusual fragrance. It's the sort of thing which I'm trying to think of garden plants which have a fragrance like this, and none are coming to mind, but I know that there are plants in the garden which smell quite similar. Very nice, sweet, lovely fragrance. Super easy to grow. I grow it in sphagnum. It's approaching dryness. I'll probably water it later, and then when it's approaching dryness again, I'll water it. I'll never let it completely dry out. They don't like to completely dry out. You can keep it a touch drier in the winter, but generally don't let it sit bone dry for a week or anything. That won't enjoy it. They have very, relatively small pseudobulbs to quite big, thin leaves, so they're really not a super drought tolerant type of orchid. This is the large form, which I got from Andy's Orchids. In the UK, I grew the regular sized one, which was about a third smaller maybe. This one, the large form, also has sort of bigger and more of the flowers, so that means more fragrance, so I'm very happy with this plant. I quite like the leaves. I mean, plain green, but they've got a little exotic touch, and you can sort of almost tell by looking at the leaf, it's not a high light orchid. It needs medium sort of light levels and intermediate temperatures, not too hot. You could keep it a bit on the drier side, or tolerate a slightly cooler winter environment, but really keep it in the intermediate side, like no cooler than 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit at night, ideally warmer than that. And it will grow very easily if you have flowers in the spring. If you grow it really well, you might get the odd extra growth in the autumn, in the fall, and get a minor flowering in the fall, but the main flowering's in the spring. It normally sends 2 growths out from each pseudobulb when it starts growing, so it tried to on this one. This is the old pseudobulb back here, and then it's got these 2 new growths, and then on the other side that's the old pseudobulb, and then it's got 1 growth that did flower and 1 growth that didn't really develop, which is a shame. There's a bit of damage on it, so I guess that's why it didn't develop. But anyway, what I'm hoping is that the next time it flowers, we'll get 2 growths of each of these new pseudobulbs. So I'll get 6 flower spikes next spring, and then 12 after that. So you can see very quickly these become large specimens. Highly recommendable orchid, really beautiful fragrance, very easy to grow. This is now Coelogyne glaumaceum. Thanks for watching, happy growing. This is Orchids with Barney.